Welcome to the Workplace Wellbeing Essential Series. I'm Mari Ryan. I'm the CEO and founder of Advancing Wellness. It's my pleasure to welcome you today to this expert interview where we explore topics that impact employee well-being. My guest today is Amanda Hemm. Amanda is the co-founder of Soutiens, a company whose mission is to help companies attract, retain, and support confident working parents. Amanda became a mother of two while working as the director of product management at a behavioral health technology firm, and she earned her MBA from Temple University, her undergraduate degree in international business from Salisbury University. She is a certified postpartum doula and a certified lactation educator. Amanda, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the offer to be here and to speak with your audience.
Wonderful. Well, let's explore this topic a little bit. Today, we want to look at this idea of the support that parents get in the workplace. We know that the U.S. lags way behind other developed countries in our support for families through benefits, family leave policies, and creating supportive work environments for parents. I'm curious, Amanda, why do you think it is that we are so far behind here in the U.S.?
That is a fascinating question, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's hard to say why. There's not one thing, but it's definitely been clear over the past couple of weeks that a lot of the policies and the mandates that are driven by the government tend to be focused very much on productivity, capitalism, and financial gain, much more so than family-friendly and health-oriented. I think that this is just a different value that we have in our country versus other countries that we're seeing. And prior to COVID-19, I was a little bit more generous, and now my opinion is a little bit more staunch of we need to be taking care of people and families and starting to turn that tide. What I find to be really interesting is that in our country, it's the populace that's really driving the demand. People are asking for these family-friendly benefits and the policies, where in other countries you might see that they have more progressive benefits and policies. But at the same time, there's a stigma in the workplace that doesn't allow people to feel like they can take them. So there's a lag in putting those mandates in place, and yet we're very forward thinking as a populace and wanting them.
Well, I think you're right that your earlier comment about it really comes down to values and what's important. I think there's a lot of great role models for this in other countries, the Scandinavian countries that come to mind as a great example of this. So I think it really does come down to values to a certain extent. Yeah.
Very much.
Is it fair to say that the majority of workers in this country don't have family-friendly policies or benefits?
Absolutely. There is a trend, which I'm sure we'll talk about, of some of the larger organizations that are really doing some amazing things for family-friendly workplaces. And we hear about them in the news of people who offer 6 months parental leave or equal leave for both partners. There's a lot of examples that we'll talk about, but that doesn't encompass the majority of people. So when you look at small businesses, organizations that don't qualify even for FMLA, or people who are in the gig economy, there's not a system in place to really support those family-friendly structures. We also see a big inequality of the higher wage earners versus the lower wage earners, of how much, what their access to care and support is at this time period. And a lot of the very male-dominated and traditionally male industries, I think about manufacturing and some of those industries are really hard to put into place in family-friendly policies. And as industries, we have a hard time wrapping our head around how to support people who are more hands-on. So nurses and doctors and teachers that spend their entire working day hands-on with their patients and students and clients. how do we give them the flexibility to do what they need to do to take care of their families?
Yeah. Before we talk about some of these trends, because you're starting to take us there, I'd love to, could you describe what it constitutes a family-friendly workplace? What does that look like?
Sure. And I struggle with this because it's so multifaceted, and what it looks like in different industries is very different. But I think it gets down to having a workplace that, again, with the values, that really values their employees as a whole person. So realizing that the employees have a life outside of their work, that life makes them a better employee, that it's something that needs to be honored and respected. And by doing that, you're going to really endear the employer to the employee, right? So working on that a little bit more. So family friendly at the macro level is that idea that we care about people as whole people and not just as that one side. When you start to break it down a little bit more, then that starts to get into place policies and benefits within the company that carry out those values. So paid parental leave for both partners, not just the birthing mother. Preconception benefits that help support the families all the way through until the children are adults. It's looking at lactation spaces and time to do that. It's having companies that recognize these benefits and these policies and implement them not just to the executives, but all the way down throughout the company. It's having that consistency. And it's having managers that lead with consistency and with empathy and really caring about the people that they work for.
That's great. I wrote a whole book just about that. So yeah, I can't agree with you more. That it's got to start with the base level of caring and building a culture based on caring in order to make that effective. So all great stuff and all things I firmly believe in. So let's move to the trends. So what are you seeing as the key trends with regard to family-friendly workplaces?
Sure. So to kind of get back to your original question of, why is the U.S. lagging behind? We're seeing the U.S. lagging behind, but we're definitely seeing a trend of states picking up the gap, right? There's currently 8 states that have paid parental leave of some extent. They vary. And another 3 that are actively legislating acts to go through right now to try to bring paid parental leave. I think that that's going to be a huge shift as more and more states jump on board. Massachusetts has it in place and it's going to be rolling out next year. So we're still trying to figure out what exactly that means. But I'm seeing that especially larger companies, as states are bringing more of a mandate, are trying to stay ahead of the curve. And that they're then offering more and more paid leave. And one of those trends is that the paid leave doesn't just go to the birthing partner, but it goes to both parents, and is extended to, adoptive parents and foster parents. And there's a lot of different ways to create a family. And the family-friendly benefits are starting to recognize that and jump on board. We're also seeing that, again, it comes from a mandate, but a lot of the support around lactation is really increasing. So having a safe, clean place to pump that has a lock and is not a bathroom. Those are being implemented into workplaces, some because the workplaces just want to do it, and some because it is a mandate, and they're starting to catch up.
Don't we have some legislation that's driving some of that too?
We do, and it's state by state. So it is different for every state. And it also depends on the size of the companies. So just as with FMLA, it doesn't apply to everybody. So we're seeing some trends moving in that direction from more of the policy and the things that businesses have to do, the legislation. From kind of the company-driven trends, what I'm seeing is a lot of employee resource groups popping up. So parent
Mm-hmm.
groups, parent
Mm-hmm.
councils. There's a lot of momentum from current moms and dads saying, let's make this easier. Let's build this community.
Mm-hmm.
And then those employee resource groups are bringing in, education programs, courses. They're creating communication channels just so that there's the ability to talk to another working parent and say, how are you addressing this issue?
Mm-hmm.
How can we work together to make this a little bit easier on your journey? So those are really great trends to see coming
That's
along.
great.
On the benefits side, we're seeing benefits that are including infertility treatments and preconception benefits. Just recognizing that there are so many ways to start a family and that companies can start to help out with that. We're seeing some of the small, relatively smaller benefits like milk stork. So if you have a mom who's pumping and traveling, that they'll ship the milk back.
Yeah.
So we're starting to see some
Right.
trends. And then I think in general with wellness trends, and you know this better than I do, we know that the millennial generation is really pushing for more and more benefits, and that having strong benefits and a great benefit package is
Right.
almost more important, or is more important for many than the salary.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes a long way towards retention
Mm-hmm.
and attracting.
I'm curious, do some of these same benefits apply to adoptive families as well?
Some of them do, yeah. And it's company by company to know what
Yeah.
their policies are, and definitely with the age of the children, right? So the parental
Okay.
leave is often taken for the adoptive parents. Adoptive parents are often, although it's not unheard of, breastfeeding, so the lactation benefits might not
Right.
go ahead with that. The child care, whether it's adoptive or your own child, is the same, or foster
Mm-hmm.
children.
Great. Well, it seems like, regardless of how a child comes into your family, you should be, considered for, all of those benefits should still apply.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious, from your perspective, are family-friendly work policies good for business?
I think so. I really believe so. I mean, that's why I built this company, is because
Yeah.
I believe that it's not only good for the parents, but it is good for the companies as well. The big thing that companies are looking for is retention of their current employees and attracting of new employees,
Mm-hmm.
especially when unemployment is so low. That's a really big deal. And as I was saying with the millennials, the benefits are a huge piece of the attraction
Mm-hmm.
and the retention piece of it.
That's great.
We know that 1 in 3 new moms are leaving the workplace.
Hmm.
And we know that moms are having, or families are starting later in life, right?
Mm.
The average age of mothers is going up. So if you are looking at a new mom who is a little bit older, which usually means more experienced, more entrenched in the workplace, and probably a little bit higher salary,
Mm.
trying to replace that person is a huge cost to the company
Mm.
for, both the financial side of it, but also just that institutional knowledge that
Mm-hmm.
goes along with somebody. So
Mm-hmm.
wanting to implement these benefits that are going to encourage people to stay with the company, to have that loyalty and engagement is really good for business.
That's great. It's good to know. Now that we're in a situation of finding more people working from home, are there different issues along the supporting families once the workforce becomes more mobile or more working from home?
Yeah, I think we're kind of having a crash course right now with
Yeah.
COVID-19 and all of the situation of people who were a little bit unsure of how to work from home, what that technology looked like, how to communicate with their teams. Those were some obstacles that were very real for a lot of
Mm.
companies, that I'm hoping that this is a silver lining that comes out of everything, is
Okay.
that people are going to be a little bit more tolerant of how to work from, or knowledgeable of how to work from home, tolerant of interruptions of kids and pets and life that goes on outside. But it's also underlining for a lot of moms that importance of needing childcare and daycare, and that working from home with a child underfoot may not be as easy as we all hoped it might be.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping you're right, that there is some silver lining to this. I think there's the potential that when some of the restrictions that have been enforced are lifted, that people will find that they like having the flexibility. They don't miss the commuting time. They like the time, the extra time to spend with their families. And I'm really hoping that this is going to have some long-term positive impacts from a family perspective.
Absolutely. And I'm hoping too that companies are going to see that people are still productive. Like, we're still getting our work done in the midst of all of this.
Exactly. We are. Amanda, if our audience wants to learn more about you and the work that you're doing, where can they find you?
We are online at www.soutiens.us and also on all the major social media platforms. So LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. And we would love to have people join our conversation.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time today and for sharing this important information about a topic that impacts so many people. Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you so much for having me.